AMD reported earnings yesterday. Unfortunately, today was a pretty red day for the market, especially for semiconductor and the tech world. We can see AMD was down roughly 7%. Even big players like Nvidia were down 4.8, Intel down almost 4%. On today's episode, what I want to do is take a quick look at AMD and more importantly, the MI300. We do know that this is going to be a big competitor against Nvidia. So I wanted to know what was the commentary management shared during their earnings call. And I have roughly 7 questions here that I think every investor of AMD and Nvidia should know about the MI300, when we're going to see it, how big of a market do they see. So let's pretty much get started. All right, so the first question I want to take a closer look at is there any demand for AMD's accelerator at the moment? Like I mentioned, most of this episode will be on the MI300, but obviously AMD does have a current solution at the moment, the MI250. So is there any demand there? And most of these screenshots are coming from their transcript. You can find it at you can Google Motley Fool AMD quarter 2 transcript and you will get all the full transcript results. But we can see from this answer that AMD, Lisa Su mentions that they have number of design wins in AI deployments as the CPU that goes with the GPUs as well as other accelerators. They have also seen some strong interest in their MI250 accelerators, which is currently shipping right now. And we see very strong pull on the MI300 accelerators that are starting production in the fourth quarter. So overall, we can see 2 things. Yes, they are seeing some form of demand in their two, at least some strong interest in their two MI250 accelerator, and they are definitely seeing some strong pull in the MI300. Now, the second question, we kind of want to understand, hey, is there any MI300 commitments? I know we have this high interest in it, but are there any commitments? And this was a question from an analyst during the earnings call. And Lisa Su does mention that they already have number of customers who are actually committed. And she also kind of mentions how the process is of kind of this commitments and how the ramping up of a big data center solution like the MI300 really goes. And they mention it's not that much different from a CPU, right? They start off with initial deployments. So they kind of send them some initial products to those data centers or to the customers. Then they have to make sure that the software works and that kind of everything is working, reliability, capabilities, and so on. And then from there on, they start to ramp up even more production or more demands. And they do mention that, hey, they are having some commitments right now. She does kind of mention a little bit of a difference between the AI market and the AI kind of GPU market and the server CPU market right now. They do mention that with this huge push and demand in the AI space, customers are willing to go very quickly. They're kind of going through their process a lot faster and kind of getting into the commitments a lot faster than previously because of just the environment that we're seeing right now. And obviously that bodes great for AMD and their MI300. I do want to say one of the big reasons here is there's probably too much demand and not enough supply, even though NVIDIA is probably going to, not probably, NVIDIA is getting the bulk of these orders. We're going to see the overall market share in a bit. Customers are trying to find another optionality because the lead times of the H100 are too long that we need some form of backup plan. So now I also want to kind of understand the current server GPU market. And there was an analyst that was saying, hey, look, in my expectations, I'm kind of putting roughly $500 million in GPU accelerator sales. So roughly 7 to 8% for the full year of 2023. Lisa Su did come back and say that she thinks the numbers are a little bit high in terms of GPU sales. So I think this is pretty crazy that right now it seems like the company doesn't believe that even for the full year, the overall sales are going to be less. Are going to be less than 500 million. So we can see right now, even though we are seeing this huge push in the AI accelerator market, that there's not enough product from AMD at the moment to kind of see this. So right now, it's definitely a very, very small portion. This is so small. I mean, NVIDIA, in forms of their data center market, makes up billions and billions on a quarterly basis, and most of that money is coming from the GPU market. So we can see how small AMD is in this space at the moment. But now, how big is this market? And Lisa Su does believe that this could be a multi-billion-dollar opportunity, and they do believe that it can happen in 2024 because that's going to be a very important year for them, as they are going to be ramping the MI300 in multiple customers over the next several quarters, which is very important. The other great thing that they mention is a lot of these customers include large tier one hyperscalers. I want to say these large tier one hyperscalers are probably the cloud server providers that we all know and love and own, the trillion-dollar companies out there. So it's pretty good that they're seeing that. They also do mention that the MI300 early results are strong for AI applications, and the MI300X, which is pretty much the GPU only version, is already seeing strong engagement from their AI customers. Outside of that, the other flavor, which is a CPU and a GPU, is also getting some interest. But right now, it does seem like a good bulk of the market is going to the MI300X, which is the GPU only version. So this is question number 4. We do have 3 more questions, but if you guys are enjoying the episode so far, make sure to hit the thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, can you hit the subscribe button? I'm trying to hit 30,000 subs by the end of the year. I do appreciate the support you guys are giving me. Let me know in the comments below, are you bullish on AMD, and is it in your portfolio at the moment? It's my number 2 position in my portfolio, and obviously I am bullish. Also, I did more of a deep dive on AMD and their data center markets, roughly a 25-minute video that is on my membership program. If you want to learn more about the semiconductor market, make sure to hit join and you will get those weekly videos. My most recent one was the data center deep dive for AMD. And I do have a free Substack if you just want free information on the semiconductor space. The link should be down below. And finally,
I want to thank The Motley Fool for sponsoring this video, and check out fool.com/Jose for the 10 best stocks to buy now. With that link, you get a promotional offer for the subscription service. Now, let's continue with today's episode.
so the next question is, one of the big things we're seeing from TSMC, which is mainly the big player here, is supply chain issues. And the supply chain issues is mainly on the back end. Again, join this membership program where I talk a little bit about the front end and the back end of the semiconductor space. But the back end, which deals with a lot of the advanced packaging, that's where a lot of the bottleneck is happening. And kind of, hey, how is this supply chain issue going on with AMD? Lisa Su mentions that it is tight. There's no question that it is tight in the industry. However, they have sort of commitments for significant capacities across the entire supply chain. So obviously, at least they do have some meat here, and they're going to be able to start to roll out those MI300s, which with at least some form of supply. I do believe even with the supply that we're going to see from AMD and from NVIDIA, at least for the initial demand, is still not enough. Next question I have, and I do believe this might be the final question. Nope, the one before, software improvements. One of the big things that AMD lacks in this AI market is software improvements, and this is something that they have been really accelerating. They do mention that, hey, they're still starting off and there's still so much to be done, but they made strong progress in the second quarter as they met hardware and software milestones. They do mention on the software side, they are seeing strong partnerships with companies like Hugging Face, which are huge in the AI market, that announced to optimize thousands of their models for AMD Instinct and other kind of platforms, from CPUs, GPUs, FPGAs, and other accelerators. And I do believe this is going to be great, right? Because right now, NVIDIA does have that lead in the software space. AMD is kind of using their research and development, but the customers in the AI market, obviously they want competition, because if there is competition, there's going to be more supply. With more supply, maybe prices go down. So to kind of help out increase the overall optionality, a lot of big players like Hugging Face and other companies are partnering up to optimize AMD's accelerators a little bit more. So I do believe the market is helping AMD a little bit in their software endeavors. They do mention that there was a leading AI software company, Mosaic ML, which recently showcased that the MI250 accelerator delivers competitive training performance with minimal changes underlying their AI software. And on the hardware side, obviously they're still seeing huge demand for the MI300X GPU, which is designed to be the world's most advanced accelerator for the generative AI space. So definitely making some improvements in the software market, but still very early on. Now, the final question is MI300 when? We know ramping up starts in the fourth quarter, but when are we really going to go see it or really expect some kind of real movement? So, in quarter four, I do believe probably most of those products are going to go to their El Capitan supercomputer customer order, but they do mention going into 2024, our expectations. Let me go back to customer interest on the MI300X is very high. So we would expect early deployments as we go into the first half of 2024, and then we would expect more volume in the second half of 2024 as those things fully qualify. So even though the MI300 is coming out in the fourth quarter of this year, it's going to take numerous quarters before we really start to see a full kind of qualification. And for those that are not familiar, right, NVIDIA with their H100 came out last fall of 2022. And not only, and until now, we're really starting to see a lot of these kind of supercomputer designers and servers really start to shipping them out to some volume wise, right? So it takes time for qualification, verification, and for customers to go, hey, look, yes, we're going to purchase a nice amount of them. And it does seem for AMD, they are releasing it here in quarter four of 2023, but it is a kind of a waiting game. Obviously, maybe with the AI workload and the AI demand, we see that it might accelerate a little bit more, but it does seem like AMD mainly expects this somewhere in mid to the second half of 2024. So it's definitely some time, and maybe investors might be a little bit shocked to hear that. Overall, I do believe AMD is going to do well in their AI accelerator. Obviously, the king is still NVIDIA, in my opinion, and there's still a nice amount of time before AMD can really showcase, or for NVIDIA, in my opinion, to really kind of really have to worry about the competition right now. So I think right now NVIDIA's biggest problem is trying to meet up with demand because there's just not enough supply. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Take care, have a good day, and see you next time.